that emotion in us, but what we do with that emotion, how we handle that, that's up to us. So are we going to sit here and worry about it and not accomplish a darn thing, age ourselves prematurely, cause illness or harm to our body because we're worrying it? Or do we simply just give it over to God?
That's the voice of Rebecca Gray, author of the new devotional workbook, I Know Your Fears, Conquering Your Fears, a 334-day devotional. Gray has known fear in her life, overcoming a devastating car accident while writing the book. The after effects left her speechless and paralyzed for a brief time. Recurring episodes led to hospital visits and memory loss, yet she was able to complete the book and share in a straightforward and simple way how we all can connect to God to release the fears that weigh us down. On today's Practical Faith Academy episode, I'll ask Gray about her motivation for writing the book, her experiences with fear, and her ideas on practical ways we can address fear in our lives. I'm Cecil Taylor of Cecil Taylor Ministries, teaching Christians how to live a 7-day practical faith. Everything I do, whether blogs, books, videos, or this podcast, is about taking our faith from Sunday into the rest of the week, applying scripture and faith to life situations. I'm also interested in children and parents, as I've written a book entitled Unison Parenting, the comprehensive guide to navigating Christian parenthood with one voice. In the podcast notes, you can find out more about that book and my other books on practical faith, as well as my overall ministry and how we can help your faith journey. In the Practical Faith Academy podcast, I add other voices with other life experiences to understand how they put faith into practice. Please subscribe to my podcast according to your listening platform's instructions. I welcome your comments and your sharing of this podcast with others. Fear is a topic I really want to engage with, as I've written about it numerous times. And the way things are going these days, a lot of people are feeling fear as they enter the new year. Author Rebecca Gray has a solution for calming those fears. Rebecca, thanks for joining me on the Practical Faith Academy podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is such a wonderful opportunity because you are right. There is all kinds of fears, not just in America, but all over the world.
That's right. So many things, and I guess we could say that about any year, but it seems this year is even more special in that regard. I want to talk a little bit also along the way about your faith, and so I want to start with this question. When I say 7-day practical faith, what does that mean to you?
That you're not just a Sunday Christian, that you don't just go to church and then kind of leave God at church, that you have a daily connection like you would with your children or your parents or your best friend, that you're talking to him daily, you're reading his word daily, you're praying daily, you are around other believers, you are taking care of your body, basically the spiritual disciplines that, he is there. He is your best friend. So you need to be engaged and learning about your best friend as he already knows about you.
I think that's really well stated, and I love the emphasis on relationship as well, the pairing of spiritual discipline with relationship. So again, back to fear. I believe fear is a driving force behind so many faith problems. Why did you take on the topic of fear in your devotional book?
That is an interesting story in itself. I was reading some books from the Voice of the Martyrs, which is an organization that helps persecuted Christians around the world. And their founder, Sabrina Wurmbrand, and her husband, Richard, wrote some books about their persecution and their walk. Well, during their time in Romania, they were both at some point imprisoned for their faith, not because they did anything wrong, except for they broke the law by sharing Jesus with their friends, family, other people in their areas. And during that time, while he was in jail, Richard wrote that fear was mentioned over 366 times in the Bible. So God obviously really knew that we're going to be struggling with fear, and he was providing us an answer. So their books actually spawned two ministries. I am dealing with a prison ministry, so I'm kind of like them, to spreading the word to people that might seem lost or forgotten or really, really need Jesus because they're probably going through a really hard time right now. And then the book was Lord. So yeah, it was an amazing journey.
One thing is as we've gone through this Christmas season, I've been thinking again about angels and their encounters, and it seems like every time that an angel encounters someone in the Bible, the phrase "do not be afraid" is in there, and it tells me when we experience God, one of the first things God wants us to know is to not be afraid. And I'm sure you would say the same. God really doesn't want us to be afraid, right?
Right. He instilled that emotion in us, but what we do with that emotion, how we handle that is that's up to us. So are we going to sit here and worry about it and not accomplish a darn thing, age ourselves prematurely, cause illness or harm to our body because we're worrying it? Or do we simply just give it over to God, which is easier said than done, obviously, or we'd all be doing it. But yeah.
I'm sure you had some fear and trepidation about actually writing a book, and congratulations on writing your first book. What inspired you to write a book at this time in your life?
Well, it has actually been a lifelong dream to be an author, but up until now, I listen to all Satan's whispers of lies that I'm not smart enough. I don't have the funds. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. All that. And then when we moved, oh, actually, we were in a church in South Carolina, and it was an amazing church. And one of the guest speakers, yeah, his family came, and they owned a publishing company. So God's like, here's your answer. Here's where you start. So when we moved here to Kentucky, after all the boxes were unpacked, everything was unloaded, and took a breath. Then I contacted them, and we've been working together ever since. TMM Ministries has been such a blessing. Not only is he a pastor, he's a friend. I mean, they're great.
The goal of your book is to help people release their fears by the time they reach the end of the book. But I'm kind of curious because as someone who has my own worries and so forth, they well up again in me. And so, can we truly release our fears, and how do we keep fear from returning?
Well, it is a habit. It's something you've got to embrace in building your routine, just like you're supposed to schedule time with God every day. You need to schedule this in your day so it becomes an automatic habit. Now, yes, I still have fears, but I'm learning to give them to God before I give them power, and I give Satan power to let it overcome me. Sometimes sometimes I'm really good at it, and sometimes I'm still working on it. So it's some people, hey, you pray, God's gonna provide you an instant miracle and you're going to be done. But for the rest of us, yeah, it's a journey. So learning that through God's words, his own words that he breathed into the Bible, that we can overcome them. And it's just not us. I mean, there is all kinds of heroes of the faith that had fear. I mean, think of David. I think I would be pretty scared if I'm looking at this big, huge giant that really wants to kill me. I think I would be pretty frightened. But he trusted in God that much to for God to deliver him and slay his enemy. That's exactly what happened.
Let me take a quick break to tell you about Christian inspirational books you may enjoy. 2025 gave me the opportunity to contribute to 7 anthology books. Anthologies are where multiple authors write sections of the book. Guideposts included me in 4 of their books, Chicken Soup for the Soul in another, and there were 2 more I helped write. The best way to find these is through my Amazon author page. It lists 15 books which I've written or to which I've contributed. You can find the link in the podcast notes below. All these books are available for purchase on Amazon and other online booksellers, and the ones I've written myself can also be found through CecilTaylorMinistries.com and my online store. I'm talking with Rebecca Gray, first-time author of I Know Your Fears, subtitled Conquering Your Fears, a 334-day devotional. Rebecca, I wrote the following in a blog post last year, and I wanted to get your reaction. Fear is the root factor in worry, guilt, and anger. Worry is fear over the future, while guilt is fear over the ramifications of the past. Anger is more tied to fear than you would think. Anger is misplaced effort at fighting the things that we fear. There's a lot in there, but basically, I tried to break down how we have anxiety and guilt and anger, and how they're all manifestations of fear. What are your thoughts on that?
With the book, the word fear can be substituted for anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, substance abuse, anything can be substituted for the word fear because they're all the same. They're all things that Satan puts upon us to put the Grand Canyon between us and God. And God's there to close that gap and not even leave crack. But we have to let him take the brains, let him take the power, and not be a control freak. Just hard for me because I'm a control freak. But you just gotta let go. And when you do, you might not get an answer right that second, but you will get some peace, some tranquility, some beginning to get the answer, to get to the place, to get to the situation, whatever you're going through prayer, through sometimes fasting, whatever it looks like for you, whatever God's calling you to do in that particular season or situation.
You know, when you started that answer, you were mentioning some manifestations of fear that I think we see in our society, right? How do you think fear affects our society?
It cripples our society. People are always fearful about how they're going to pay their bills or where they're going to get food, especially, you know, with everything that's going on in our world right now. Um, how am I going to get take care of my kids? How am I going to buy them clothes and things they need? How am I going to the list goes on and on and on. Oh my gosh, my car is not sounding right and I need to get it into the shop, but oh my gosh, I don't have the money to pay for it. And if I don't have a vehicle, how am I going to get to work? I mean, it starts off as one tiny snowflake, and then it turns into a giant glacier.
My guest is Rebecca Gray on today's Practical Faith Academy podcast. And Rebecca, I want to get into a few things. I know that during the writing of your book, you actually had a lot of things happening in your life that a lot of us would be fearful about. You talk about Satan interfering and so forth. You must have felt that way. Tell us a little bit about what kinds of things you had to overcome and what you were fearful about.
Okay, well, 3 years ago, this past August, I was in a car accident, taken to the ER. They did whatever tests they did. I don't remember much from it that day. My husband was working out of town, so he was even further away from me than what he normally would have been. So he had to leave work, come get me, take me home. Um, I don't really remember the drive. I don't remember how I got home or anything like that. And then at some point, because I tried to go back to work and this was not working out at all. I was in child protective services. I would go see people. I would write down what we talked about. I wouldn't remember them. I wouldn't remember our conversations. So it really interfered with what I thought was going to be my forever job. And so the doctor took me off on medical leave, and then I had to come up with what is my new normal going to look like. And that was a struggle because I didn't know where I was going. I was going to all the doctor's appointments and things like that, but I was like, who am I now? I'm not a worker anymore, so who am I now? So I began helping out with a variety of different ministries at our church. We have a dinner at church where the community all comes together and we eat together and fellowship together. And it's just such an amazing event. And we do Praise Cares, which was a providing groceries and a hot meal to families in need, and just so many ministries. And then one Sunday, I walked into the bathroom. Luckily, only by the grace of God, one of our female pastors just happened to be there, walked in with me, and I passed out. She luckily caught me, so I didn't hit my head or anything, but they couldn't revive me. They could not wake me up. So I was transported to the ER, and about 10 hours later, I finally woke up. So I couldn't communicate with anybody. I couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't like move. You know how some people can like twitch a finger or something. I could do that. I couldn't do anything. So of course I just remember praying, okay, God, your will's going to be done, whatever it is. But so it was hard. It was very hard. I was praying that I wouldn't be crippled or paraplegic or any of that. But I'm like, your will's going to be done, and you're going to protect me, take care. So after that, I was like, okay. They couldn't explain it. They had no idea what happened. Okay, so I just kind of put it on the back burner. Didn't think much else of it. And then it happened again. The
Oh,
second time again, it was at church. Um, it was at the reception of our dear beloved pastor's funeral. And I was at the reception and I passed out again. They could not revive me, ended up back in the emergency room. They did all kinds of tests and still no explanation. Well, after
mm,
that, I started doing what I call like little mini pass outs, which I would pass out for like maybe 10, 15 seconds, something like that, and then just wake up. The only reason why I would know, because I was usually lying on the floor or someplace like that when it would happen. So at that point, I decided to stop driving. So for my sake and the safety of everybody, I just made that choice. So then again, I am starting all over because unless I got a ride, I couldn't participate in all the ministries I'd been doing. So then a third time, it happened again where I was actually at my neurologist's office and she saw a few of the minis, and then she, I believe, left the room and because my visit was over. And apparently she didn't realize I was still in the room because I had passed out. And I think the door was open or something, and somebody saw me in there and they tried to revive me. They couldn't revive me. So that time I ended up in the hospital for 3 days. Don't really remember much about being there. I don't know how I got home. I mean, my husband obviously brought me home, but I don't know how I got home. I don't know how I got upstairs. So I'm like, I know he couldn't carry me. And he's like, no, you walked. And I'm like, okay, you say so. I don't remember much at all for that 3 days. But so it was a challenge. And then Easter Sunday, um, a friend of mine, along with a lot of people, were praying over this, and we both said at the same time, "It's finished today." And after that, I didn't pass out anymore. I didn't have the little mini pass outs or anything. So that was great. But still having the memory issues, things like that. And
But you basically had a miracle happen that
oh yeah,
stopped
definitely
it,
was
even though,
such
yeah.
such a blessing.
I'll take a quick time out to tell you more about my Friday feature, the 7-Day Practical Faith blog. The prestigious Blue Ridge Christian Writers Conference honored this blog with a 2024 Foundation Award as Best Blog. You'll find my blog presents various ideas for living your faith every day, whether it's the approach we bring, the actions we take, the spiritual disciplines we follow. You'll find new ideas each Friday. Read the blog at ceciltaylorministries.com by clicking on the blog link or by visiting the Cecil Taylor Ministries Facebook page at facebook.com/Cecil Taylor Ministries. In a few minutes, I'll share some other ideas for staying in touch with my ministry to enrich your faith life. Now back to my guest, Rebecca Gray. Rebecca, you were telling me beforehand about a time after moving to your new home in Kentucky where you had to face a very specific fear about driving. Can you share that story?
We have a two-story garage. So on the outside, it is, or at least on the lower level, it's all concrete. So, and the other side is, it starts out the neighbor's property, and then as you go down the driveway, it's a drop off. So I don't back out of this at all. Well, one Saturday morning, I can't remember what I was doing or where I was going, but my husband was asleep and I didn't want to wake him up. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this. And I got in, I tried because you can't turn around.
Oh,
I
so
got it.
you're having to just back straight up, like come
Yeah,
out of the
well, it
driveway and twist
is
and
up a
then
little bit and then it curves and
it
then it goes
curves
down to the
and then go
street.
up. So you have to
So
back
this is
up to
not
a
an easy
blind spot.
task at all.
Oh my gosh.
And I have
Yes.
backup cams and stuff like this. My husband can do it with backup cams. Me, no. So I got in and tried multiple times. And finally, I mean, I was petrified with fear. I thought I was literally having a panic attack. So I got out of the car and I'm like, I'm going to go wake him up. And God is just like, what are you doing? You are writing a book about this, asking people to trust me in this, and you're running away from it. Get back in that car and we're going to do this. So I got back in the car. I made it up by the power of God. That was it. Haven't done it since, but
But you did it the one time and
I
you
did it the one
responded.
time. Only by the grace of God I could have got up there. So, but yeah, so I will catch myself throughout the day or when a challenge comes up and just reminds me, you wrote a book about this. You're asking people to trust me with their fears and their situations. You got to do the same.
Well, that is so true because, first of all, as an author or a quote expert, we feel like we need to definitely walk the walk.
Mhm.
But that applies to all Christians. We proclaim God and then we need to walk the walk. And that's really what this podcast is all about when you get down to it. So let me shift to a couple of questions about that. What is the hardest part for you about putting faith into practice?
Before I had surgery on my arm, a friend of mine had knee surgery, and she was telling us at the jail about she never took pain medicine in her life, so she actually got addicted to it. And she was explaining the details of how that hurt her family, her friends. And I'm just like, God, I don't want that. And people at my church actually went through the same surgery and they kept telling me, take the medicine as directed, or you go to physical therapy, take it, all this. And I'm just like, God, I don't want this. I don't want to hurt my friends and my family like this. So I did a test for myself, and what it was several weeks, maybe three, leading up to it. I was praying and fasting that God would keep it so that I wouldn't need pain medicine, that I was just going to come out and be healed. So I had all my little prayer groups praying the same thing. I'm like, don't pray that, for the doctor's hands or that I'll have a speedy recovery or anything like that. Pray that I stay firm in the faith and not let seeping little doubts enter my head. And that was hard. That was really hard to put that shield up when those doubts popped up. The what ifs or whatever. So when I came out of surgery, I was actually only on pain medicine for 3 days, and that was it. And that was like apparently unheard of for this type of surgery, because I had some extra things they had to do too. And every time I went to physical therapy, I'm just like, okay, keep it coming. I wasn't in pain afterwards, maybe a tiny bit sore, but nothing where I had to come home and take any medicine for it or anything. So that was only by the grace of God. And, you know, testing my faith to make sure in whatever situation I was going through that I was going to stay strong and not let the seeps of doubt or mistrust that Satan puts into our heads to keep me from my focus on God.
Well, Rebecca, thank you for your openness about some of the struggles you've had. It certainly gives you fodder for being able to talk about fear with authority and with God's backing behind you. So thank you so much for that. Can you tell our listeners how they can follow you and find your book and a companion book that you have coming out? So give us
I
all the
do have
scoop.
a companion book coming out to this book. And what that is a book that helps you dive a little bit deeper into it. So, the main book or both of them together work very well for like a small group, for some people that are just wanting to get together and do it together, or maybe even a family with children, or if you want to do it by yourself. You can commit to this as much as you want. The book is designed to be larger print, so it's easier on the eyes, and basically one page at a time. So it's one verse, one devotional, one uh, prayer for it. And then if you want to dive deeper and get more into it, it's made that it can be quick in the morning before you head off to work and start your day, or it's made to dive deeper and understand it more and do some more self-reflection. So it's up to you how you want to use this tool, whether you are fully knowledge in biblical background or you don't have a clue and just getting started. It's for you. It's made simply, it's worded simply. So younger people or older people or ones that don't have a biblical vocabulary can all read it and understand it without having to pull out the dictionary, without having to pull out the Bible or Google or whatever your favorite lookup tool is to be able to translate this into English. It's very simplistic.
So I see that it's available on Amazon,
Yes,
uh,
it is.
right?
You can find me at Rebecca Gray Ministries, GRAY Ministries on Facebook. We are working on getting different other channels up, Instagram and different things like that. I am so old school. I remember when the internet was launched, so I'm getting it used to all these new social media platforms. So we're planning on getting on those as well. So
Well, let me tell you, as a fellow author and Christian speaker and so forth, it takes a while to get it all in place. There are so many avenues, and to maintain all of them and everything. So we'll give you grace that it's not all in place, but hopefully people will keep an eye out for that. So thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year! Have a blessed New Year. Great place to start. Join me today, letting down your fears.
Best wishes to Rebecca Gray as she launches her ministry and her first book, a timely one indeed. I mentioned earlier there are even more ways to benefit from my ministry. Subscribe to this podcast, follow Cecil Taylor Ministries on Facebook, Instagram, or Pinterest, but be sure to sign up for my free monthly newsletters. Ministry Connection and Backstage Pass combine practical faith tips with updates on the ministry and on my life as well. Read about them in the show notes and how you can receive them. Next up on the Practical Faith Academy podcast in the second half of January is Laura Silverman. Like Rebecca Gray, Silverman suffered a huge medical setback. She experienced a sudden, debilitating neurological illness that ruined her legal career that included serving as a federal prosecutor. Then, after only a year of marriage, her husband passed away. Silverman chronicles her journey in her Christian memoir, Singing Through Fire. It is not only a tale of loss, but a proclamation of joy. If you have struggled with your faith through suffering, and haven't we all, you will appreciate listening to this next podcast episode. Until next time, remember, God sends you into the world every day.